Hello and welcome to the Mailbox Rogues Gallery. My name's Burch.
My name's Sean.
I'm glad we got that out of the way. I'm glad we got the pleasantries out the way.
Well, it wasn't very pleasant, but yeah, I'm glad we needed to do it just to really let people know what they're listening to and who we are.
Yeah, the feigned attempt at pleasantries.
Yeah.
Well, this is the Mailbox Rogues Gallery, where we take a figure in history or fiction and throw them into our metaphorical mailbox of rogues.
Yeah, the bastards.
Bastards. Every last one of them.
Everybody we've covered up until now.
But who are we throwing in today?
Can you get sued for defamation for a podcast? Has it ever been done before? I wonder if there's legal precedent.
Well, I mean, I've always wanted to be first at something.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, we might strike it lucky.
We'll see, fingers crossed. Yeah. Okay, well, I don't think this person's likely to sue us anyway. It's Henry VI.
Henry VI.
He's old.
He's knocking on a bit now.
Well, he died in 1471, so yeah, I don't think he's probably not very litigious these days.
No, yeah, I don't even know if he has a computer or the internet.
That's a good point, yeah.
So he probably won't be able to listen to this.
I mean, computers and the internet have only really been around the last 200, 300 years. This guy was living, 600 years ago?
Yeah, exactly.
Well before his time.
Exactly, yeah.
Well before his time. Wasn't it? Who invented the computer then? It was Copernicus or...
Copernicus, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Copernicus, yeah. So named because...
Well, that's what he would wear, and that's how the first computer was made. Some of the copper wiring from his knickers.
Charged with his bodily energies.
Yeah, well, he just had a loose thread on his knickers, and he's just, oh, Christ's sake, and he just started pulling at it, and there was an electric shock, like a lightning bolt went from the sky, and hit his thread, went all the way up his trouser leg, and just, shocked him, and when he looked down at his crotch...
His testicles and his penis were playing Pong.
Yeah, exactly. And he had a nasty rash, and it looked like it said Google on it.
Oh, God, that's not very nasty.
No, well, nasty beginnings, but we have him to thank for the internet as a whole.
Yeah, as a whole? What happened to his hull?
Well, his whole... Basically, what happened...
Oh, no, let's not go into it, all right? It was just a joke.
Okay, all right, fine. Maybe another time, history hour with the mailbox.
A different story for a different episode, possibly. Yeah. Okay, but we're doing Henry VI, who was... I don't know a lot about him. I'm guessing he was between Henry V and Henry VII. Sounds about right, doesn't it? What about Henry VIII? Presumably he came after too.
I think it was a bit after, yeah.
Yeah.
He was a bit after those guys. Well, I mean, I am a bit surprised to hear you. I thought his name was King Henry VI.
Henry VI, no, that VI is pronounced the sixth.
It's what pronounced the sixth? What?
It's a Latin thing.
What, like Ricky Martin?
Yes, it's a bit like that. Yeah.
That's fine. But just to clarify, King Henry VI.
That's right. Yeah, well done. You're learning.
Yeah, he was a king.
Yeah, he was the king. Yeah,
for a period.
And where was he the king of? Look, I'm quizzing you now.
He was the king of England and also France.
Yes, well done.
I've done my research. Yes,
and I think this gets to the nub of why we chose Henry VI. Is he became king of England aged 9 months old.
Little baby. King of England, and then a few weeks later, King of France too. He had a busy kind of first year of his life.
You talk about like a wunderkind, like an achiever from a young age. I mean, to be the king of 2 countries before you're a year old.
All off his own back as well. No one gave him any help.
No. Of course. I mean, it was pure. Well, not just talent, perseverance as well. He really sweat for those titles, those positions that he got.
That's right, yeah. Well, whether the people his age were kind of crying and shitting themselves, he was ruling 2 great nations.
Well, he went, you know what? No, I'm not going to cry and shit myself. I'm going to get up off my knees and I'm going to make something of myself. Pulled himself up by his little kingly bootstraps.
Yeah.
And... led 2 great warring nations.
Yes, that's true, yeah.
Fighting each other. 2 nations that are fighting each other.
Yeah, he didn't give himself the best job, did he?
No, you think he'd do 2 nations that were friends.
Yeah, maybe, well, he just wanted to keep things interesting, I think.
Yeah, well, again, it's the thing with overachievers. It's sometimes quite hard to keep them entertained, to keep them engaged.
His coronation was like a really swanky affair. By his own request, the tweenies were there. Bob the Builder, Fireman Sam as well. He'd attended, and the Teletubbies.
I mean, that is a hell of a shindig. Yeah, to get all of those great names in children's entertainment, BBC children's entertainment in one room, is frankly amazing. It's astounding. Bob the Builder, back in medieval times, probably not the Bob the Builder we're picturing. We kind of picture hard hat. He's got a cement mixer and lots of friends that are diggers, whereas obviously...
Soup, Muck and Dizzy, Rolly too.
Oh, yeah, sorry, of course. I forget that you... I forget that you're a big fan.
I love him. Love the man. Love him.
I love his work. I mean, but back in those days, most houses were probably just built out of twigs and shit.
Yeah, those were the materials he had to work with.
So it's just muck, really?
Yeah, and...
shit, muck, and twiggy.
Yep, shit, muck and twiggy. That's who he had to work with.
Teletubbies were quite different back then as well, weren't they? Because, obviously the telly in Teletubby comes from the television on the front of their stomachs. But television... I mean, I know we talked about the internet and computers already. I don't think television was around until, 1500s, 1600s. Shakespeare's time, maybe.
I mean, it's very sad. The original Teletubbies back then, they were seen as basically witches. So whenever they would kind of run around and show things that were happening in their stomachs...
Oh, so you're saying the tellies were still there, it's just no one understood what they were?
No one could fully grasp how this was happening.
Yeah.
So they were just looking at these strange images being like broadcast in their stomachs. And very sadly, they kind of like chased them up these hills. And eventually, it's very sad to say, but they were burnt at the stake. All four of them.
Oh, they became tubby toast. I mean, because we think of television inside a person's stomach as quite a whimsical idea.
Oh, it's quaint, lovely.
Yeah. In no way kind of horrific or terrifying, like they would have thought it back in the 1400s.
No, they thought they saw the devil, and that's when they burnt them alive. And they were just on these pyres, just screaming, "Uh-oh!" like that. And some of the old paintings from that period are particularly graphic.
Oh, yeah.
Of these kind of Teletubbies burning to death.
I think some of Hieronymus Bosch's work actually covers that kind of era of Teletubby witch hunting.
Yeah. I mean, Fireman Sam, he was there as well. He didn't have quite the same kind of... he didn't have quite the same reception as the Teletubbies. People had firemen back then.
Yeah, I mean, people respected him because he was there upon the king's wishes, but I don't think they really knew what he was doing there other than that. And again, like, Fireman Sam's main source of work is cats up trees, and cats and trees existed back then as well.
No, that's true, but some of the writing from that period about that coronation seemed to indicate that he had a pretty good time. Well, maybe too much of a good time.
Oh yeah, enjoyed it a bit much.
Got a bit sloshed. Set fire to a few things. Literally became like a fireman. Sam.
Well, that's tragic irony, isn't it?
Yeah, well, he was setting it on fire, scholars believe, just to kind of show that he could put the fire out again.
Prove his self-worth, yeah.
But all he really did...
That's how I actually assert my self-worth as well, as I set fire to a lot of things. Yeah. I mean, I get it, yeah.
Do you...
I don't put them out, no.
You don't?
Because I'm not a fireman.
Yeah, that would be wrong of you to do that, wouldn't it?
Well, I don't want to deprive real firemen of honest work.
Exactly. No, that's right. If anything, you're keeping them employed by setting those fires.
They've only got one thing to do. But yeah, I mean, otherwise they're just sitting around twiddling their thumbs, bored out of their minds. Got to keep them active.
And the tweenies, they were just there, really.
Well, as they always were. Wait, which was the one that had the Welsh mole that told them stories? Was that the tweenies?
That was Roly Mole.
Roly Mole, yeah.
He was in... Oh, fucking... What was it called?
It must have been the tweenies.
No, it wasn't. There was like some green fluffy cunt in it. The fuck were they called? Roly Mole. That's going to annoy me now.
I love how we know who Roly Mole is. Like, I can picture him. He's a purple and green badger. Mole.
Roly Mole, the fucking badger.
he's a badger. No, he's a mole. And he rolls in and tells them a story.
He rolls deep.
He rolls deep. He's rolling in the deep.
I need to look this up.
Yeah,
because
that's fine. I think it's the tweenies. I think you're going to embarrass yourself.
I don't think
and we've got it here on tape.
Feebles or something like that?
What the flip is a feeble?
I don't know. Let's have a look. Or was the show Roly Mole?
Oh, wait. Oh, he had his own show. And he's called Roly Mo.
Roly Mo?
He's called Roly Mo, not Roly Mole.
I was bloody close. The Fimbles.
Oh, they're horrifying, the Fimbles. Got them up on Google Images. Terrifying.
Yeah, bizarre.
Oh, but Roly Mole's got such a sweet face.
That's why we remember him, you see. He was the real star of that show.
Also, as well, he used to remind me so much of our headmaster at school.
A little bit, yeah. I can see that.
I'm going to tell you a story. Wait, was Roly Mo Welsh? Or have I superimposed that?
I think he was, yeah. I think he was
Right,
Welsh.
okay.
Our principal famously was purple and green as well.
Yeah. Well, he didn't like to talk about his personal life very much.
No, people are like, where are you from, sir? Oh, you wouldn't want to know. Is it not important?
And then he just rolls out of the room.
Yeah, he digs a little hole and then leaves. But, you know, he was a nice enough guy. No one questioned it.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about how he became the king of two nations from the sweat off his own back. One thing he did inherit, though, was the 100 Years' War.
Yeah.
I mean, of all the things to inherit, quite a setback in life, that, actually. Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things where you kind of like, you go in for a job, it looks great, you're thinking, oh, this is perfect. It's like, great wage, got my holidays, got my weekends, perfect.
Well, a holiday in France, south of France, if you want.
Exactly, yeah, you could go anywhere in France. The weather in the south, nice climate.
Eiffel Tower
In the north.
I bet that when that was brand spanking new in the 1400s, lovely and shiny and new, I bet it looked great.
Oh, yeah.
Because now it's a bit faded.
Yeah, it was silver back in the day, lovely shiny colour.
Yeah, now it's a bit dulled. Well, yeah, like you say, in the analogy of going into a job, it's like you go into a job and find out that the person you just left has basically done the equivalent of taking a shit on the desk that you're about to sit down at, you know? And
to add insult to injury, it was his own dad.
Yeah, very disappointing. So that was the thing he inherited, the 100 Years' War. And that's of all the wars, that's a long one. That's a very long one. And
how long did that one last?
Well, actually, it was 116 years.
Oh.
You've queued yourself up for a joke there. I just batted it away. It's 116 years. So anyway, pretty interesting childhood between the nation ruling and the 100 Years' War. And then he's sort of like, well, maybe before we move on to his later years, we should talk about some of the things he decreed as a minor leading two nations.
Let's do it. What did he decree?
Well, he put a stop to the Teletubby burnings right away, which I think is very admirable. Yeah, well, I mean, him being a big fan of them, when he saw them kind of their rotting flesh on those pyres still after days of kind of being burnt. Crows still picking away at bits of their charred remains. That really is enough to traumatise a child. So I think from that point he was just like, no more of this witch hunt. Yeah, I mean, they're a clean folk, aren't they? They've got that Hoover. Yeah. They're always vacking up after themselves, aren't they? Yeah, they are. Because they get they spill a lot of food between the Tubby Toast and the Tubby Tustard, but they always clean it up. Or at least the Hoover cleans it up for himself. Yeah, well, they've not got fingers, have they? They've just kind of got one... They've got a thumb and they've just got like a massive splodge. I never thought about that before. Yeah, they don't have fingers. Somehow I find that weirder than the fact they've got tellies in their tubbies. Wait. Tellies in their tubbies. I meant to say, why aren't they called the Teletubbies? Because they've got tellies in their tummies. Yeah, but they're a bit fat, so tubby. Oh, they're tubby. Tellies in their tubby tummies. I find the hand thing weirder than that. I find it weird that they don't have any knobs. So, as we've kind of touched upon, Henry VI, he did have a relationship with the country of France in a number of ways. For one thing, his mother was French. Also, ended up marrying a French woman. Ooh la la. Oh, oui, oui. Yep, married Margaret of Anjou. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. And they kind of thought that this would... We don't have any listeners in France. It doesn't matter. Sacré bleu. No listeners in France. And exactly that sort of shit is stopping it happening. So he married Margaret because although he inherited this war from his father,
who, by all accounts, was very bloodthirsty.
Bit of a shit.
Yeah, he was a bit of a shit. Henry number 6, he was a bit different. He was.
You're getting there with that pronunciation. You're getting there.
Henry 6.
Yeah, close.
Well, he was a bit more reserved, maybe pious, less war hungry.
Bit timid.
Yeah, a bit timid, bit meek. Bit of a dweeb, a dork, a loser. So I guess it was kind of a way maybe to strengthen a kind of bond between them and France during the war.
I mean, she must have been quite disappointed being married to this dork.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he was a bit of a loser, and not only that, but he was like the head of a country that for years now had been at war with her country. So
he would have to be pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, charismatic.
To get on the right side of her.
Yeah, I mean, what if that's what's happening? Like, there's a war. He's a bit of a dweeb, a dork. What is he?
I mean, he was in his 20s and he was still avidly listening to Linkin Park.
Yeah, I mean, that's a decree he made back in his teens, so I don't know why he was still carrying that.
Well, that's it. I mean, some people don't ever kind of grow out of that teenage emo phase, but
yeah, I mean,
he carried that with him.
He was still walking around in like black skinny jeans, black hoodie. He had like the bracelets on, the guy liner on his eyes.
Yeah.
And he just kept on saying, "I want to be left alone. You don't understand me." It's like, what was she getting out of that relationship?
Yeah, I know. It's all very well when you're a teenager, but yeah, a lot of people do grow out of that kind of phase.
No boundaries. No parental boundaries.
Well, that's what happens, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, so this poor Margaret, stuck with this dork. I don't know. I just get the feeling she was just a bit cooler than he was. French are very cool anyway, aren't they? They've got that kind of confidence and arrogance.
Yeah, kind of like a nonchalant, which is a French word anyway.
Oh yeah.
So
she was probably into jazz, and poetry.
Yeah, well,
and he's there. You can just hear from his bedroom. It's like, I become so numb. And she's just like there, like she's trying to listen to Coltrane, and fuck this.
And he's just like sweeping his fringe over, just like, Margaret, you just don't understand me. No one understands me. Like, storms off, puts on some more Linkin Park, looks in the mirror, just kind of like nodding back and forth, rocking out.
Oh, disaffected. That's the word for that man. I mean, it wasn't, as well as his poor wife, he did also sort of make our nation quite unhappy as well. History talks of how his ineffective rule kind of laid the groundwork for the English Civil War. He wasn't a very popular ruler. And also, the War of the Roses kicked off as well while he was about, and he ended up being imprisoned in the Tower of London for 5 years.
Yeah,
so he wasn't very popular with many people.
No, but I mean, you could say he did end the 100-Year War.
Yeah, you could say that.
So
that's
it's just a shame that a few others kind of ensued.
Yeah,
through other things that he did.
Quite turbulent times, actually.
Yeah,
when you think about it.
I don't think the British people knew what they wanted. Like, one war ended, it's like, oh, it was good that we want another one.
Yeah, I'll go on.
Oh, here's a Civil War, here's a War of the Roses. What do you want?
So he was in the Tower of London for 5 years, imprisoned, and then he was released for 6 months, and he was made king again for those 6 months. And then guess what? They put him back again, and he died there. Probably headbanging a bit too hard. Yeah,
that's the thing. Yeah, he was asking for his. Like, oh, I want my Walkman. I want my CD, my Linkin Park CDs.
Yeah.
Ye oldie CDs. ye oldie Walkman.
Ye oldie Meteora.
and they were like, all right, fine, yeah. And he kind of like had it on with the big old-fashioned headphones.
Yeah.
That were made hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
And he was just...
Sort of ones you see Kevin Bacon in, what is it, Flashdance? Is that the one he's in?
Footloose is him.
Footdance or
Flashfoot.
Flashfoot, yeah.
That was a classic. So he's in the Tower of London listening to Linkin Park, just kind of really headbanging.
Really going for it. Because he's upset. Rightfully so. I mean, he was out of prison for just only 6 months.
And he had that moment where he was just kind of like really headbanging, and he accidentally bangs into the wall with his head. And he has that moment, like in The Shawshank Redemption, where Andy Dufresne throws the chess piece at the wall and a little bit comes off.
Yeah. He went,
and I've got an idea here. So for the period that he was in the Tower of London for, like when the guards weren't looking, he had like this poster, like from this kind of like pull out from Nuts magazine that he used to.
Well, no, we would have had what Andy Dufresne had, wouldn't he? Yeah, he would have had Raquel Walsh in 1 million years BC, just like Andy Dufresne. I mean, bearing in mind that film was made in 1 billion years BC.
Oh, yeah.
It was a classic even back then.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. So he had that poster on the wall, and when the guards weren't looking, he'd lift the poster up, stop banging his head.
Banging his head into the wall.
He'd always have the music on, though, because that was kind of like a driving force that really helped him get some kind of weight into that
some
wall.
Momentum. How does the emo fringe, is that a help or a hindrance when you're trying to headbang through a wall? It's a bit of cushioning, but only on one side of your head.
Yeah, like one half of his head was kind of like really beat up, and it just looked like a massive kind of like a tumour on the side of his face almost. Whereas the other half,
because of the swelling, is it?
Yeah, that's just the swelling. But the fringe side looked absolutely fine.
Yeah,
a lot of bounce to his hair.
People don't really credit the emo fringe for its protective ability, do they?
Saved a lot of lives in the mid-2000s.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, moped crashes, things like that. If you just had to make sure to land on the right side of your head.
Yeah. And so he was banging away his head. Eventually, made a hole in the wall, went through. Bloody idiot just realised he's in the top of the Tower of London.
Yeah.
Didn't think that far ahead, so he just kind of...
Just went right through.
Plummeted to his demise.
Just like in that Evanescence music video.
Yeah. Which I think maybe he kind of saw the comparisons there and thought, you know what, as a way to die, this isn't too bad.
I think as he fell towards the earth, towards the ground, he kind of wistfully drew up the parallels and went, okay, yeah, worse ways to go.
Well, one of the guards saw it, and he started shaking the other guards who were like sound asleep, and just like said to the other guards, wake him up inside. And then they went inside, and then he's falling, going, save me, as he's falling. And, it was a whole sordid affair.
Yeah. Well, he died doing what he loved. So, I mean, for most people, death is the end. Not for Henry VI, though.
No.
He had a posthumous cult form around him.
I saw this, yeah, this is quite interesting.
Yeah, so after his death, many miracles were attributed to him. So he's sort of basically an informal saint after he died. One thing which I particularly liked is they kept his hat in a crypt, and they bring people down and they put the hat on their head, and it was meant to magically cure migraines. A magic migraine curing hat.
Oh, I could do one of those.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe you should pray to Henry VI. Make sure you get his name right, though.
Oh, yeah, that's a point, yeah. If I get the name wrong, I might have to live with a migraine for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I mean, he also cursed people as well.
What?
There was one bloke who was like bad-mouthing him, cursing his name, sent the guy blind.
Whew.
Yeah, and then the guy had to go on a pilgrimage to some place that was important to Henry VI, and then he was cured of his blindness.
Well, I mean, he gave him his sight back, I guess, but bit of a nasty thing to do to someone.
Yeah, well, maybe a sort of hangover of the disaffective youth thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, maybe he wanted people to feel how he feels.
Yeah, it's like, finally take me seriously.
Mm.
It's funny how he seemed to have more power in death than he did in life, though. I mean, it leads me to what I think is the big question: what would you do from beyond the grave?
So what? I'm not walking around. I'm just some kind of entity floating in the ether.
Exactly. Yeah, you still got a will and a spirit,
but I can't actually use.
I mean, you can send someone blind, for example, and cure migraines.
Well, I wouldn't want to do that both to someone, because that would just be a real pisser, wouldn't it?
What, they go, I'll do anything to cure this headache, and you're like, all right, here we go, headache gone, blind.
Or give someone a migraine and make them blind. I was thinking that would be a real. He loses his sight, just like, oh god, it can't get any worse than, ow, my head.
I mean, you say you're not going to do it, but there's quite a smile on your face there. You seem to find this quite funny.
Well, I guess it depends who it was, maybe, I guess.
All right, who are you going to haunt then? Who are you going to do that to?
Who really deserves blindness and a pounding headache? You know what? Someone who really deserves to be put in their place. Jamie Oliver.
Oh, I like Jamie Oliver. You bastard. He's a bit cocky, though.
Oh, yeah, just the way he kind of like goes on TV, shows you how to make a meal.
Bastard.
And it always tastes nice. I don't...
Oh, yeah.
I don't... Why can't we see him make a bad meal every once in a while?
Well, if he was blind and he had a headache, he might make a bad meal.
Exactly, yeah, that's what I'm hoping. He's in the kitchen there. He's just kind of like, okay, we're going to be making a roast dinner. And where's the fucking roast beef? I'll just grab this, whatever it is, put it in, feeds it to his family. Like realizes he's put the cat in the oven.
Again.
Undercooked.
Oh, blimey.
Just like really insult to injury. Just,
yeah.
Oh, Christ's sake. And then he starts holding his head in pain. It's like, oh, fuck. Knocks all the cutlery off the table. Writhing in pain and crying through his blind eyes.
I don't know why I'm enjoying this image so much. I do really like Jamie.
Put him in his place.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he deserves it, but
I'm not a cruel person.
Wait, so hang on. You think it's less cruel if he doesn't deserve it?
I think for me to say somebody deserves it, what does that say about me?
What does any of this say about you?
I'm not judgmental. So,
but you're passing down a judgment on people.
Well, no, because if he's not a bad guy and I'm doing that to him, it's like I'm basically saying this could happen to anyone. I don't judge people. This is someone who seems like quite a friendly, affable sort of bloke.
Could be an Essex TV chef. Could be a binman.
Exactly. No one is safe.
Well, are you got some grudge with your local binman?
Yeah. Oh, this twat! I tell you what. He I've been at war with this guy for years. I'll put the bins out right on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
So that Wednesday morning it's there ready. They can collect it. Every Wednesday morning, without fail, right? He lifts my bin up, puts it all on my front garden, then he puts the bin upside down on top of my car. And he just drives off.
That is pretty bad service, I would say.
Every Wednesday for the past 5 years.
I would have thought you'd stop leaving your bins out.
I still hold out hope that one day he'll change for the better.
I'm not saying you should have to change. I don't want to victim blame you in any way. You shouldn't have to change your behaviour.
No,
he's the aggressor in this scenario.
Well,
although actually, I do have to ask: was it always this way, or did you maybe do something that triggered this with this behaviour in him?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, the only thing I can really think that... No, it wouldn't be that. No.
Well, go on.
Well, there was one... It was pretty much the first week I'd moved there, actually.
Okay, yeah.
I was new there. I didn't know the bin route. Wednesday morning came. I saw the binman out there. I was like, oh, shit, I didn't know that they were collecting on Wednesday morning. So there I was grabbing all the rubbish from my floor. I always put it on the floor before I put it in the bin on Tuesday night.
Oh yeah, seems like a good idea. Is that you're sorting the recycling or just...
No, I've only got the one bin.
Okay, yeah.
No, I just got all this kind of like banana peels,
tea bags,
used toilet paper, all that kind of stuff, just like strewn around my house. And what I do is I just kind of like scrabble around. It's like supermarket sweep me, running up and down the house, grabbing all this shit, putting it in the bin, and I think, oh, that was good time. I run outside of my house with the bin in my hands. The bin lorry is just rushing down the road.
Yeah.
I've got this bin full of my crap held above my head. I'm going, I've got a full bin. Just slow down, stop. It keeps going. I think I see the back of the bin open, right? I'm quite a good shot.
Yeah, famously.
So I've got the bin in my left arm. I've got my right arm stretched out like I'm doing shot put.
Okay.
I've got it ready. I've got it aimed. Move it forward. The bin's going. I must have caught it at an odd angle or something because the bin just keeps on going, right? And it lands in the windscreen, the front windscreen of the bin lorry.
What, goes through the windscreen?
Yeah, it goes through the windscreen. There was a bit of a funny wind or something, and it just kind of like swerved back, went through the windscreen, killed the binman who was driving.
Oh.
He
was just a guess here. This wouldn't happen to be his last day before retirement.
It was. He only had 1 day left till retirement.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I wasn't trying to kill the guy. I was trying to give them my rubbish. That's what they want at the end of the day. And so he swerves off the road, starts doing like somersaults in the bin lorry. Lorry sets on fire.
Out crawls your current binman.
Yeah.
Who was on the first day of the job with his dad, who you've just killed.
Yeah, that's right. It was his dad. I mean, it was a family tradition, and they saved up for the bin lorry. Sorry,
this is a private firm.
It's a private firm. They're like an independent binman company, right? And
I mean, that's an interesting choice of business to go into, considering that's something that we pay through our taxes and get for free, essentially for free, anyway.
Yeah, but I mean, they say they're offering a specialised service by kind of you're helping your independent.
Yours is a very specialised service that you get.
Yeah, you're helping your independent binman, is what they're saying.
Okay,
You
yeah.
pay so much and they take your bins away. I don't know how it's any different to a normal binman personally, but this is what they say. And so, he's crawling out, basically crying because his father has just been impaled by a bin.
And presumably some of your detritus has kind of...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like a used banana peel just like on his face. All this kind of stuff. Like all the used toilet paper wrapped around him so he looked like the mummy. And
very dirty mummy, though.
Yeah, very dirty mummy. But yeah, and so he crawls out, he's crying, and I'm like, why didn't you bloody stop, you idiot? And,
so at this point you're not offering to help.
Well, I didn't know this. This was my first week in the house, okay?
No,
I
hang on.
only just moved here.
No, I'm talking about the fact that you've just thrown... What I'm talking about is the fact that you've just thrown a bin through the windscreen of a lorry. It's killed a man. The lorry has somersaulted in the middle of the road and caught fire. And so you addressed that by just asking him why he didn't stop and take your bin.
This was my first week in the house. I didn't know how they did things here, okay?
You thought this was maybe the sort of artisanal, independent spirit of the brand.
Well, yeah, I mean...
This is what you're paying for when you go independent. That's what you thought.
If I'm paying for a fucking service that is already sorted through my taxes, then I want to expect some kind of like some show.
A bit of pizzazz, yeah.
Exactly. So I didn't know. So I'm running over, and I say to him, why didn't you fucking stop, you idiot? And he was just... Well, he didn't say anything. He was just kind of stood there. And
I'm amazed he could stand at all.
I mean, I wasn't all bad. I let him borrow my phone so we could call the emergency services.
Okay, that's good.
I mean, calls aren't cheap, so I mean, he gave me the 40p for the use of my phone. I thought that was generous enough. And they came and they kind of moved the lorry. And yeah, I mean, after that, I just found every week he was a bit off with me.
And when you say a bit off, yeah, like you say,
he wouldn't
spewing your rubbish all over the lawn, putting the bin through your windscreen each week.
And like I've not found any other place for that rubbish. It's been piling up in my house for 5 years. I've been taking to eating the peels of bananas and like plastic Tupperware just so I can make room to live in.
You shouldn't be eating all that Tupperware.
No?
I mean, a bit every now and then is fine.
Maybe I should just like try and throw it back in the bin lorry again. I don't know. You see, normal situations I'd call the council, but they're an independent firm. They can do what they like.
That's it, yeah.
That's where they get you.
Yeah. Maybe you should stop paying for the service. But like you say, it's an independent business. You want to support those.
Yeah, exactly. And like everyone else in the street kind of pays for the service. I don't want to seem like the only one, the only stingy one not bothering.
Yeah.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Do you want to have another go at saying the name of the person who we covered this week?
Yeah, well, we're at the end of the episode, so if I don't get it right now, then...
No.
Kong. Fuck.
Did you say Kong?
I did say Kong.
Like King Kong?
Yeah, like King Kong.
No, it's you got the king bit. But you didn't actually even say the word king, did you?
Was he a English monarch? Kong?
King Kong? No, I don't know actually. We'll do a bit of research on that.
Yeah. Okay. Silence for a second. King.
Yeah.
Henry.
What's funny is you had no problem saying this bit earlier. It was just the title.
Yeah, but there's all the spotlights on me now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you got King Henry.
the...
Yeah.
6th.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, well done.
Oh.
Oh, very good. You're editing this episode. Maybe you can edit in a little round of applause for yourself.
Oh, I will do now.
So, yeah, I've got nothing more to say on the subject of King Henry VI, other than, were I to be a saint and have these kind of earthly powers and could basically haunt people and, you know, exact power upon the world from beyond the grave, I would haunt the comedic actor David Spade.
Really? David Spade?
I think he's incredibly annoying. I've never enjoyed any time that he's ever been on a silver or small screen. And, I just basically sort of drive him to the brink of insanity.
By what? Would you be doing the same thing, blinding him and giving a headache? Or would you
start
go for
that. Yeah, I'd start with that.
Oh,
yeah.
bloody hell, start with that. Well, where would you go then?
You know, people have those socks that say Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. Usually they've got 7 pairs and they've got the days of the week on them.
Usually, yeah.
I would just sort of like make sure some of them get lost. Not all of them though, just some of them.
Ooh.
That's cruel, I know.
Like an odd number. So he would have to have like Tuesday and Wednesday on the same day or something like that.
Yeah.
Devious.
Yeah, no, I know. I think actually, even as I say it, it seems a bit too much. But
well, if you really want to kick him while he's down, you don't want him to be blind for that.
No, okay.
You want him to see that he's wearing odd
maybe
socks.
I'll restore his sight just for that. He can have it back for a period of 4 to 8 months, and then I'll take it away again. But then he knows for the rest of his life about the socks.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I was going to say to sort of round off with Henry VI.
No, yeah, well, that's a beautiful way to wrap that up.
Okay. Well, we'll just say you can catch us on the internets, on the social medias, Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, we're on all that. Twitter, you can get us at Mailbox Rogues. On Facebook, you can get us if you just type in the Mailbox Rogues Gallery podcast. I'm sure you'll find us.
Email mailboxroguesgallery@gmail.com.
That's correct. And you can listen to us on Podbean, iTunes, and YouTube. And while you're on iTunes, if you could leave us a review and a rating, the review essentially helps to get the podcast out there a bit more and possibly increase the audience, which is what we want.
Boost us.
Give us a boost.
Boost us.
And similarly, if you want to let us know, maybe by email or by tweeting, then you can do. And if you have some advice for us with my binman situation.
Yeah, I mean, that is really tragic, the situation you're in there, and I think if anybody has got any ideas, maybe you are a bin man. Maybe you're a bin man. Not you. I'm looking at you making eye contact, but I'm talking to the audience. Maybe you, audience member, you're a bin man, and maybe you'd like to let us know how you feel about the situation. Maybe
you're even the binman in question. You know, like if we could hash this out in this fortnightly podcast as a form of entertainment, but also some kind of way to patch things up, then that would be great for everyone.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Well, fingers crossed he gets in touch.
I hope so. I do hope so. So yeah, that's it from me, unless you have anything else you want to add about old King Henry VI.
No, I'm sick of him.
Da 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 da.